After losing 60 games and finishing with a bottom 3 record for the 3rd straight season, the Houston Rockets were the NBA's most aggressive team this offseason. They hired Ime Udoka to serve as head coach, then splurged on free agents Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks, among others. Those additions should see Houston improve, but the Rockets still have quite the hill to climb. And with the cast of characters now occupying that locker room, this suddenly ambitious team has disaster potential written all over it. The young Rockets have long been an ill-fitting, low-IQ team with seemingly zero accountability, a disheartening combination that ultimately cost former head coach Stephen Silas his job. It wasn't all bad though, as 20-year-old big man Alperen Şengün emerged as a budding star last season, while Jalen Green's overall upside is undeniable. But between Green and Kevin Porter Jr., the Rockets' offense often devolves into an unorganized mess. The only thing uglier than the combined shot selection of Green and Porter is often their defensive effort.
Boom. Roasted.
It's no surprise then that 2022 number 3 pick Jabari Smith Jr. disappointed as a rookie. Smith has to wear some of that himself, but what the Rockets had brewing wasn't exactly the most advantageous situation for a rookie big to step into. The first step to making things right saw Houston replace Silas with Udoka, who led the Celtics to the finals in his first and only season as an NBA head coach. But Udoka was only available because of a suspension and eventual dismissal in Boston that stemmed from an inappropriate relationship with a female staffer. After adding more high upside youth to the team via the selections of Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore in the draft, the Rockets knew they'd need to supplement all those youngsters with veterans who can help Udoka steer a wayward ship. Enter Fred VanVleet, whose basketball IQ, no-nonsense approach, and team defense will be welcome additions in Houston. Meanwhile, Jeff Green, who played a key role off the bench for the defending champion Nuggets, should also help stabilize things. Even Jock Landale should give the Rockets some low-maintenance production as a reserve center, though Houston probably didn't need to pay $8 million a year for it. Where things start to get curious is the inclusion of Brooks. Don't get me wrong, the former Grizzly, with stout defense and toughness, was underappreciated in Memphis, as we discussed just a few months ago. But while Brooks' defense was sorely needed in Houston, the Rockets are also the last team that needed to add an undisciplined offensive chucker, let alone pay him $86 million.
Well, that was a miscalculation.
Unless a more reserved offensive version of Brooks arrives in Houston, there are going to be major issues for Udoka to solve, and VanVleet might not actually help matters. The veteran floor general is worth more than his raw numbers, as indicated by the fact that even in a down year, he finished top 15 in 538's wins above replacement and just ahead of Jaylen Brown in ESPN's RPM wins metric. But VanVleet's shooting and overall efficiency have cratered over the last year and a half. Among 113 players who qualified for the field goal percentage leaderboard last season, VanVleet's effective field goal percentage of 48.6 ranked 103rd. But that didn't exactly stop him from pulling the trigger on some ill-advised attempts. VanVleet's point of attack defense has also seen some slippage. And given the fact he's an undersized guard with a recent history of back issues who'll turn 30 this season, it's reasonable to assume Fred's already seen his best days. Now that doesn't mean the nearly $129 million contract Houston gave him was egregious, as between VanVleet's intangibles and the fact the 3rd year of his deal is a team option, it's a completely defensible bet for the Rockets. But what happens if the big money veteran star you brought in to keep the youngsters in line can't back up his words with actions? Are Green, Porter, Brooks, and others going to accept VanVleet's honest criticism and direct leadership style if he's getting blown by at the point of attack and shooting sub 40% from the field? There were already reports of tension between VanVleet and some of his younger Raptors teammates. What happened on an even younger team where he holds none of the same championship equity he built in Toronto? Plus, in addition to finding opportunities for the improving Şengün and Smith, guiding rookies Thompson and Whitmore, and managing the shot selection of Green, Brooks, and Porter, VanVleet's still gonna wanna get his. As nice as his new contract is, The 2022 All-Star isn't going to Houston just to take a back seat to guys still on their rookie scale contracts.
Now he see that Jay make the rules in smart tech, that I run this bitch, and now he about to bounce.
Add it all up, and the Rockets might finish the season with more players-only meetings than wins. On one hand, you can easily identify the skills and intangibles the Rockets coveted in VanVleet, Brooks, and Udoka. On the other hand, you can see how their arrivals could be like throwing a Molotov cocktail into an already combustible locker room.
This is all blowing up in my face!
It's also worth asking, other than San Antonio and perhaps a post-Lillard Portland team, which other West squads can you confidently say the Rockets have caught up to this summer? Perhaps incremental improvement and more meaningful games will help Houston figure out which young players to move forward with. But in the meantime, the Rockets may have just created a toxic work environment without the trade-off of many more wins.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.